Let's get started. Thank you everyone for your patience as we get everything set up with the live streaming. Again, my name is Dominic De Los Reyes. My pronouns are he and they, and I am the program coordinator for the Union of Pan-Asian Communities program for COVID community outreach and education. And tonight is a special community engagement session. We are co-hosting with TrueCare. So we have here Alejandra Perez and Moises Moreda. And I also want to draw your attention to the ability of those who are attendees on the Zoom call to have closed captioning. There's a button at the bottom if you want to turn that on. Also, we have ASL interpreters here today. Thank you, Cindy and Leah. And our captioning is done by Anihan. Our accessibility coordinator is Melissa. So thank you everyone for helping us make this an accessible event tonight. I also want to introduce community health worker Tracy Lee. And I think that's everyone on this call so far. Oh, and Spanish interpretation. So for those on the Zoom call, you should be able to select which language you want. And it can be English or Spanish this time. And thank you, Leo, for your assistance with that as well. Okay, so now that we've gotten that, hold on, I need to exit full screen. Sorry. Tonight is a night where we can talk as a community about how COVID is impacting school communities and families with children. And we also have people joining us from all over San Diego County. So TrueCare would like to share resources for food, for example, and other things available to us so that we can help each other and make use of resources available so that we can get out of this pandemic sooner and more comfortably than if we didn't have each other, right? So first we will have a presentation by a teacher in Chula Vista Elementary School, Mr. Tuan Tran. Thank you for joining us tonight. And after that, we can do Q&A, and as well as a presentation by TrueCare. And at the very end, for people on the Zoom call, we will be drawing a winner for a UV light sanitizing box. So I think that will be all. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dominic. Thank you, UPAC, for having me here today. Let me share my screen real quickly. Hello, guest. I hope everyone's doing great. All right. Can everyone see my screen? If you guys can see my screen. Alejandra, can you see my screen? Can you give me a thumbs up? All right. Yes. I don't know who else is talking here. All right. Yeah, I'm used to using Microsoft Teams. Anyways, let me introduce myself. My name is Tuan Tran. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Parkville Elementary in Chula Vista. I'm here to share my experience as a teacher during distance learning, as well as to give you guys some solutions and strategies that you can use to help your child during this time. As we all know, COVID has changed the way our students and our child have are learning in the classroom. They're not really learning in the classroom. I guess they're learning at home, which means that they're missing out on a lot of stuff that they would be in the classroom, which is a lot of the social skills and also interacting with their teacher. And so I'll be here to address some of the struggles. So let's start with who is struggling. Well, in my classroom, I have 31 students. I would say that at least 50% of students, they've adapted and adjusted to distance learning. They're doing a really good job. They haven't really missed a beat. There are students that are self-motivated. They decide, they have no choice but to persevere, and we need to continue with learning. And so 50% of my students are doing really well. I'd say about 25%, 25 to 30% of students, they're hanging in there. They're doing as much as they can. They're not, I guess, learning as much as they would be in a classroom, but they're hanging in there, okay? They haven't missed too much. Then I have about 20% of my students, I'd say they're struggling quite a bit. Why they're struggling and how do I know they're struggling? Because they don't have their cameras on, they're not participating in classroom discussions, they're not turning in their assignments, and pretty much seems like they've checked out. And so those are the students that are struggling. And so I don't know if you can relate, that with your child, but I just want to share with you guys what you can do as a parent so that your child can overcome those struggles. And so if you guys look right down here, first thing you want to do is you want to check in regularly with your child. Okay, check in, ask them, every day, what are you guys learning? Okay, what are you guys writing about? What are you guys, what type of math concept or math skill are you guys learning today? What are you guys learning for this math unit? Okay, what are you guys reading? Okay, check what type of book they're reading. Okay, what type of reading strategies are they learning in class? And so you want to ask your child directly what they are learning in class. If they're not replying, then you can also ask the teacher. Okay, I'll give you guys a little tip here. Okay, bug your child's teacher. Okay, they can't say no. If you want to know what your child is learning in the classroom or how they're doing, send emails to your child's teacher. Okay, if my student's teacher asked me, or my student's parent asked me, how their child is doing in class, I have to reply. Okay, that's my job, that's my obligation. And so for you guys, make sure you guys bug your child's teacher. Okay, they can't say no. Okay, so that's my tip to you guys. Bug them every day you have to. Okay, and then at the end of the year, buy them a nice present or something. Okay, so bug your child's teacher. Okay, next slide. Okay, what you want to look for as well is whether your child is motivated during distance learning. And so these are some things you want to watch out for. Changes in sleep, appetite, concentration, hygiene, child's electronic use, and their social interactions. And so you not only do you want to ask them what they're learning in class, but you also want to check in with them and see how they're doing emotionally. Like I said, kids, they're social animals. They're used to being around, other people, their peers, and just socializing with them, interacting, sharing ideas, sharing their knowledge. But it's very difficult during distance learning. And so you want to check in with them, see how they're doing emotionally. Okay, give them a chance to, talk to their friends, outside of class. If you guys have FaceTime, use FaceTime. Let them socialize with their friends because they need that, especially during this time. And so you definitely watch out for those factors right here. Again, check in frequently with your child. Going back to checking with your child, I know that parents during this time, you guys are exhausted. You guys, work and you guys come home, you guys are tired. Thing is, you guys can't, this is the time when your child need you the most. Why? Because they're not there with their teacher. Okay, and the teacher, it's hard for me to, my students accountable. Okay, it's very easy for them to, sign into the meeting, but not be able to turn on the camera. So I don't know if they're really there or not. And so for the parents, I highly suggest that you find a way to make sure your child is learning. Okay, whether you need to call them up during work and ask them what they're learning, or if they're okay, if their technology is working. Okay, make sure you check in with them frequently, because if they miss out on a year of learning, then a year loss of learning is going to be very hard for them to catch up next year. So make sure you check in on them. Like I said, this is a very crucial year for you to step up and try to support your child as much as you guys can. Supporting kids during the coronavirus crisis, keep routines in place, be creative about new activities, and exercise. Yeah, exercise is very important. I always have my students take a break, stand up, stretch, I'll like play an exercise video because I know that, sitting behind a laptop for 4 hours straight, it's very tiring. I can see why some kids may lose their motivation. And so get them up moving, get them to exercise, after class, after you get off from work, take them out for a walk. San Diego has a lot of great places to walk, right? We have parks, we have beaches, we have, hiking trails. You can find a way to take them out for walks and exercise and keep them safe, okay? So remember, just take them out for a walk, okay? They need that, okay? It's very important they keep their immune system up. You can manage your own anxiety. The saying is, if you can't help yourself, then you're not gonna be able to help others, right? So make sure you take care of yourself as well, okay? I'm a parent as well for the first time. I have a 1.5-year-old daughter. She wears me out, but I try to manage my anxiety and my stress by taking her out. We go out for walks. I make sure that when things get stressful, I kind of take the time for myself. Sometimes you need to go out and just take a breather. So, or go out and enjoy a good meal. So make sure you take care of your anxiety. Limit consumption of news. I remember at the beginning of the whole COVID crisis, for the first few months, I was stuck at home. And so when you're at home, what do? You watch TV, you're on the internet, right? And so I was watching a lot of news and that kind of stressed me out. So I realized, you know what? I'm gonna turn off the news, okay? Because the news can be very overwhelming. There's a lot of negative, stuff that you see in the news. And so once in a while, just turn off the news, take a break, do something else. Life is more about just watching TV and stressing yourself out. So turn off the news once in a while and do something else. Stay in touch virtually. So make sure you guys check in with your child. If you have to, FaceTime them during when they're in class, see that they're okay. Also, allow them to contact their friends, their family members through FaceTime or Zoom or Teams or whatever app you guys have. Make plans, keep kids in the loop, but keep it simple. Check in with the little kids. Sometimes the path of least resistance is the right path, and accept and ask for help. Okay, don't feel like you're alone. If you need help, contact a family member, contact your child's teacher, ask for help. I know some of my students, they have family members that went through tough times, and some actually had COVID and had deaths in the family, and they asked me if I can give their child some time to catch up on their work. As teachers, we're very understanding. If your child needs time to focus on other stuff and come back to it later, we understand that. Okay, we're very flexible, especially during this time. Okay, and so just make sure you keep your teacher in the loop. Okay, that's the most important thing you can do, is keep your child's teacher in the loop, so we know what you guys are going through at home. Back to school anxiety during COVID. Well, soon we'll be going back to school. I don't know exactly when, but I work in Chula Vista, and we probably have the highest COVID cases in the whole county. But there are rumors that we may go back to school very soon, maybe in a couple months. And so just know that, validate your child's feelings and let them know that things will be okay. Schools have a lot of safety measures in place. Okay, they'll get a chance to go back and see their friends. And so try to set the tone and let them know that everything's gonna be okay. There's safety measures in place. The teachers and school administrators, they will, let your child know what the expectations are to keep each other safe. And just, allow them to think positively. Okay, don't scare them. Don't say, oh, if you go to school, this is gonna happen to you. So make sure you help them think positively. Okay, have a routine in place, emphasize the safety measures. So continue to tell your child to always wear a mask, always keep a distance from their friends. I know it's very easy for them to fall into the trap and want to take their mask off and hug their friends and talk up close to their friends, but make sure you tell your child they need to continue to be disciplined, keep the mask on, and keep a distance. Okay, eventually, they'll be able to take it off, but right now they need to continue with those safety measures. Very, very important. Encourage flexibility. Schools, when we go back, okay, we're not going to go, it's not going to be like last year where, things are normal. Okay, when we go back, okay, there's going to be a hybrid learning. And so there's going to be a lot less students in the classroom from what I heard. Okay, the students will probably be put either into an AM or PM class, and there'll be, I guess there's gonna be a lot more space in between each other. Okay, and so same thing with when they're outside during lunchtime. Okay, they may be sitting at different tables, they may be separate from each other, and so just know that there's some flexibility in terms of the schedule, in terms of how the students go back. And so just know that it's not going to be, we're not going to have like 50 students in a classroom, okay, not during this time. So there's some flexibility. Again, you want to contact your school and find out more about their plans. Okay, once they announce when your child's is going to go back to school. So make sure you ask your school and your child's teacher what's the plan. Okay, like I said, I work in Chula Vista. Our school district will have a different plan, probably a different plan than San Diego. I think you guys are in San Diego, and so you want to contact your school district and your child's teacher and find out what that plan is. Okay. And when should you get help? Okay. Like I said, there's a lot of support out there for you and your child, and so do not hesitate to ask for help. Okay. I tell my students and their parents all the time, if you need anything, just let me know. Okay, I'll do my best to answer your questions. I'll do my best to help your child out. Okay, I'm actually doing after school tutoring right now for some of my struggling students. And so you feel like your child is falling behind in school and they need to catch up, ask if there's a tutoring program. Okay, some schools, they may not really advertise that, but at our school, we identify the kids that need help, and we let them know that it's a resource that they can use. And so make sure you ask your child's teacher, is there going to be a tutoring program later in the school year? Okay, and so there are resources available, so make sure you reach out and ask for help. All right, I know I talk too much. I'm a teacher, so anyways, I'm going to turn this slide over to Tracy. Tracy, can you talk about the resources, please? All right.
Hello there. That was my husband. Thank you for being a teacher, and thank you for your support, and thank you for being here tonight. So we have a few resources that is available for parents. And first one is that we have free and low cost internet services. So if you don't have internet, you can always call 211, and they will ask a series of questions, and they will provide free internet for you. And also during this time, I know a lot of parents are going through a lot of mental health issues or maybe going through depression. You can call the San Diego SS and Crisis line is 888-724 7240, and it is available in 150 languages, and it is open 24/7. And you can always do online chat from Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. if you're not comfortable calling. They do have online chat. And also number 3, free virtual tutoring for K-12 students. If you want to have your kids have virtual tutoring, you can go to this website. You can copy and paste. I'll have this information in the chat box, and so you can use this information to, and register for free tutoring. So if you have any questions, you can also email the contact person's. Her email address is hdhwellness@ucsd.edu. And once again, I will have this information I'm so sorry. That was my daughter. I will have this information in the chat box. Thank you again. If you have any questions, you can answer now.
Yeah, I guess I'll go to the last slide here. Are there any questions, parents? No questions? Okay. All right, I guess if there aren't any questions, then thank you very much for having me here today, Dominic and UPAC. I know I talk too much, but that's what my wife tells me. But anyways, yeah. All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tuan. Thank you, Tracy. We really appreciate the information you shared. And hi, baby. Congratulations.
All right, take care, everyone.
Yeah. So for those logged in to the Zoom, I believe you should have the ability to unmute yourself if you would like to speak. Also, you can use type any questions into the chat or the Q&A box, which has an anonymous option. And so those are some ways you can ask questions. And for anyone viewing from Facebook, sorry, it was a little roundabout way to find our video, but you can also type into the comments of the video your question, and we can direct them to the presenter as well. So once again, that was Mr. Tuan Tran. Thank you so much. And next up, we have Alejandra Perez on behalf of TrueCare, giving us more resources. So thank you. And Moises as well.
Thank you, Dominic. Yes, that was really great information. We'll actually review some of 211's other resources. So on that resource slide that they just shared, they talked about 211. 211 is a really great resource, and they help with other health, transportation, utilities. So we will review that in our presentation. We're going to pull that up in just a second. But a reason that we're here today is because with the closures of schools, the state and the nation realized that a lot of kids and a lot of children may not have access to that secure food source that they were getting at school. So a lot of children rely on that meal. A lot of children look forward to that meal that they get on a daily basis. And so with the closure of schools, they weren't able to receive that stable food source, right? So something that has been done is the extension of the summer meals program. And so that's something that we'll talk about in our presentation. And it kind of got us thinking about food resources and how different parents and different families can access all of those food resources. So that's kind of the purpose of our presentation today. We're going to go through a couple of different food resource programs. So we'll wait for that presentation to pull up and then we'll begin. Perfect, thank you. So today we'll be talking about food resources, and then if we go to the next slide, we'll have a little outline. So we'll start with TrueCare, which is the organization that we're coming from. We'll review the San Diego Food Bank information, Feeding San Diego, the California School-Based Lunch Program. Like I mentioned, we'll review 211, and then we'll end with some of the food resources that us as an organization provide to the community. So a little bit about us. My name is Alejandra. I come from TrueCare. I'm the community engagement specialist, and I'm here with my colleague Moises, if you'd like to interject.
Hi, everyone. My name is Moises. I'm the Outreach Supervisor with TrueCare under the Community Engagement Department. I'm very happy to be part of this presentation and looking forward to be later on talking to all of you.
Yes, so a little bit about TrueCare. We're a system of community health centers. We provide affordable and quality healthcare services. We have medical, dental, women's health, behavioral, pharmacy, chiropractic. We also have WIC services. And we also provide mobile services. We're actually renovating our mobile right now. So we're really excited for that upgrade and what we'll be able to provide to the community. Something great about TrueCare is that we are a federally qualified health center. So we accept patients with or without insurance. So if you don't have insurance, we really want to make sure that your health is covered, that we're taking care of you. And our system would be a sliding fee scale. So you would be charged per service depending on your family size and income. So again, really just trying to make sure that everybody in the community is taken care of, and that's not a barrier of access is like your cost. We also accept those with Medi-Cal, a lot of private insurances. So a really great resource for you if you're looking for some sort of healthcare.
Oh, thank you, Alejandra. As we know that COVID has impacted a lot of families through different ways, we understand that sometimes could be in the way of like, how do you provide food to your family or families? And this is something that we, as TrueCare, we all like to provide resources to the community in a way to prevent, to facilitate the social determinants of health and provide healthy food options to families across North County. However, I would like to share with all of you, if you're not familiarized with San Diego Food Bank, they are all across San Diego County, and they have great resources related to food, anything from emergency food assistance to food pantries to collaboration with other nonprofits or businesses that are open up the doors to provide food for everyone. So if you haven't had a chance or you know someone that might be in need of food, I'm going to provide two options that are very close to all of you across San Diego County, and you will be able to guide your neighbor, your family member, your friend into like finding locations that are providing like boxes of food. So if you haven't recognized this website, the San Diego Food Bank, it's very well known for partnering with like churches, partnering with nonprofits to provide anything from like fresh produce to canned goods to even diapers for those families that have or are starting a new family. So if you know someone or even your own family is in need of some food, log into this website, San Diego Food Bank. It looks like this, how the screen has been shared. If you look at the right top corner, which has the red button with like get food, if you click on that, you should be able to see all of their programs, everything that is available across San Diego County. And let me share with you how it looks like if you were to be. Let's see. So hopefully I'm still sharing the screen. If you look at this website, if you go get food, and if you scroll down, you should be able to see like super pantry programs. And then the cool thing about the San Diego Food Bank is if, for example, if you were to click on this, it provides you with a PDF. It's printable. You can, if you have access to a printer, or if you don't know someone that has access to a printer, you can ask them to get this section print out. It will provide you with all the locations, the hours of operation, the if they have any requirements for you to get food, it will also be listed. And even some locations will provide you with some directions to get to the location. Also, it will provide if they have diapers on site, they often request, for example, if you look at this, like Father Joe's Village, if you need diapers, it's often request. So this is a very, very helpful tool, especially if you know someone that might be looking at different locations. And just to a small disclaimer, sometimes food is up in availability. So they might not have the same thing as you got last time. For example, if one time you went in and they had their products, this time might not have that available, but they try to have a mix of different food choices for the families to cook for that week, or depending on what you're getting in. So another cool things for that one, if you, for example, go back and if you want to check on other locations, such as like some of their partnerships that they have with churches or other nonprofits, they have also this sort of like calendar where you can see when they're running. If you are looking into more like a calendar friendly setup, you can also print this out, give it to your friends and family. They can put them in their fridge. Great resource for those families that are more familiarized in a calendar setting. So this doesn't have all the details on what are they offering, but if you're more familiar now with this location, then you can use this calendar to remind yourself that, let's say Thursday, St. Andrew Church will be providing food in Encinitas. So great resource for families, friends, or people that might be in need. All right. So another great resource is the Feeding San Diego. They're part of Feeding America. This is just a partnership with the San Diego County. They're a little bit more intuitive when it comes to finding locations. And what I mean by that, they have very similar platforms where they're partnering with like nonprofits. Us as TrueCare, we're partnering with Feeding San Diego. And with that, we also have some food distributions that we'll talk later on in our presentation. But if you were to log into our website, you'll find something similar to this. I'll do a demo in a bit, but we'll find different, not just food locations, but also lunches for under 18. And I'll talk about that in a bit as well. So if you log into their website and you type in your zip code, you'll find all of the locations that have, they even go all the way to Borrego Springs if you have family members all the way there. And depending on the availability or location that you're looking for, you might be looking into some places that are looking into like appointment-based only, or if you have the luxury of having a car and having a drive-through location, then you don't have to do an event. So let me also pull in the website. If you log into the feedingsandiego.org website, it looks like this. If you go to the Hoover over there, get help, you'll find food distributions. They also help out if you're looking to apply for CalFresh and if you qualify, they will help you with that. So if you click on food distribution, you'll find what I was talking to you earlier about finding food distributions. If you click on the zip code, I find that to be the easiest way to find the location nearest you. For example, where we have our location here in San Marcos, 92069, and you can even narrow it down by the miles that are near you. Especially, this is very helpful if you don't have a car, if you don't have, there's no methods of transportation nearby you. So keeping it very close to you would be great. Now, obviously, if you have another family member that has access to a car, they can find multiple locations. So if you, for example, once you click on the zip code, it will show you the locations that are nearby you. If you read on the bottom, it would even identify the locations that are call-based only, appointments, the ones that don't need appointments, and if there's any youth meals in the nearby area. So they're very helpful tools for all families. So keep this as part of your resources. You might not need it now, your friends might not need it now, but if in the future this is something that becomes available to you, feel free to use it and share with your family members. Another cool thing that is running out with the California State, it's the Lunches Program, popularly known as the Summer Kids Lunch Program. This is a program that it was originally opened up to throughout the state of California for families that had kids under 18. And through the period of the summer, these families were not having some school in between or not attending the summer school program, they could pick up lunches at the schools or affiliated collaboration with 211 or other lunch programs sites. So if you were to click on the same thing, like go to the California Department of Education under the 2021 Summer Meal Services, same thing. If you click on the with your zip code, do the research in the search, and you'll be able to see all the locations that are nearby to your city or your friend's city. It will look something like this. After you click on the search bar, it will come with all of the records. For example, with this one, if you look all the way to the bottom, it will show like the school that is nearby to you or affiliated site that is providing lunches. And within that, it also they break down like by the meal type. For example, if that site provides breakfast and lunch, it will have like a B and L next to it. So if you click, if you see where right here where my mouse is at next to the red dot, you can see VOL, and then they provide breakfast and lunch. So depending on the site, they can even provide even afternoon snacks. So this is really, really great for families that are seeing a tighter budget right now with COVID, and they're in need of like a supplemental food for their kids. Some other sites are operating as a drive-through or as a pickup only. For the most part, most of the schools are participating in this program. TrueCare is also an affiliated site that is providing lunches for kids under 18. Very, very cool program for all of the families. And for the most part, every single day is different for the food. I'll talk a little more about that later, but great resource, especially if you have family members that don't live in San Diego and they live in LA, they live San Francisco, Orange County, everything across California, you can utilize this tool. So
all right, so as promised, we're going to go a little bit more in detail on 211 San Diego. So as you can see, this is what the website, the main page looks like. And there's a variety of resources. You can get vaccine information, testing information. There's even, information on taxes, housing. I know housing is a big thing right now. So there's a lot of resources on the 211 website for that. But what we're going to focus on is the COVID-19 resources. So I'll do the demo as well. We'll click on the COVID-19 resources, and then the next page is what the screen will pull up. So this is, again, another search bar. I think something really neat about all of the resources that we're sharing right now is that ability to put in your zip code so that you are able to find a resource that's really near you, that's really accessible, because I know sometimes transportation can be an issue. So that's what these resources and that filter option is really beneficial for. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll go through the web page. Okay, there we go. So this is the main page, and we're going to go ahead and click the COVID resources. So here we are. Again, there's a lot of options. So right here is the food resource section, but if you scroll down, there's also utility resources that you can click on. There's housing resources, financial income and employment, childcare, healthcare, etc. Right? So lots of different resources depending on your need. We're going to go ahead and focus on the food resource. So I'm going to go ahead and click the emergency food resources, and that will take us to that page that I was showing you. So it lists the food distributions, lunch bag distribution, emergency services, and it has eligibility. So if you scroll on top of the eligibility, it'll tell you if there's any requirements. So let's see, for this one, it says it's primarily for homeless men, women, and children, and they are asking for an ID. But there are other food distributions that don't ask for ID. So this one, monthly emergency food assistance, the eligibility, no residency requirements for food programs. So this is also really handy to know what to expect when you arrive to the food distribution or the food pantry, what documents you need. Most of them you don't need too much, but some sites do need, you know, an ID just to verify eligibility. So you can also search here. So you can use the search bar. So let's say we want food pantries, and then you'll put in your zip code. So 92069, which is the zip code for San Marcos, and you'll press enter. Then a nice list of pantries that are close to you will pop up. And on the very bottom, you'll have a map. So it'll show you where the different pantries are, and you can see what's most available to you. Additionally, on the left side, again, those resources that I was talking about, you're able to use the same filter system to find resources under transportation, utilities, criminal justice, education. So this is a really, really great resource. 211 has a lot of information on its site, and thankfully it's made it pretty easy to navigate. And so we will, if anybody is interested, have the slides for this presentation so that you are able, you know, to know what web page to click and the links and everything. But that's it for the 211. And then now we're going to move into some of the resources that TrueCare is offering, something that Moises alluded to as well. We'll wait for the presentation to come back on. There we go. So TrueCare wanted to do its part in, you know, alleviating that food insecurity that families were having. So one of those programs is the free lunches for kids. We usually do this during the summer. So every summer, again, because children aren't in school and they may not have access to that stable food source, we provide lunches at apartment sites. And because of COVID, we actually extended the summer lunch program, and we are now providing lunches at apartment complexes on a daily basis. So our first apartment complexes is in the city of San Marcos, and it's the Sierra Vista apartments. We recognize that transportation might be an issue for students, or perhaps their parents go to work and the student stays at home, so they might not be able to get to the school to pick up their lunch. So we really wanted to eliminate that barrier in access. So we provided a site on site where the apartments are, so that if kids want to come, if they have an older sibling that's taking care of them that can't drive, that wants to pick up their food, they have a centralized location. We do provide food Monday through Friday at the Sierra Vista apartments. And like Moises mentioned, the food is different every day. So some of the meals that I've seen are like mac and cheese. I've seen broccoli beef. I've seen burritos. And it usually comes with, you know, a fruit, a vegetable, milk, sometimes a yogurt. So, you know, keeping it different for the students. And then our second site is the Mission Cove Apartments. So this is an Oceanside, and we provide meals Tuesdays through Thursdays at that site, and they're grab and go. We provide, you know, very safe measures, wearing a mask, wearing our gloves. So I'm really protecting the people who are picking up the meals and our staff as well. So if these locations aren't near where you guys live, again, using those, the California Lunch Program site will help you find if there's other organizations or nonprofits that have a partnership with Feeding San Diego to make this program, you know, a possibility near your area. That would be something, you know, great for you guys. Another program that we have is the food distribution. We do this year round, with or without COVID. We're always doing the food distribution. With COVID, our amount of food that we're giving out has increased. So we have definitely seen a rise in need in families and more people coming to our distribution and more food coming in from Feeding San Diego. So we offer 2 food distributions in San Marcos every single month. They are the first and third Wednesday of every month, 11 to 12:30. We actually partner with a local church who lets us use their site for distribution, which is very generous of them. And it's Iglesia de Jesucristo en Los Americas, and that's where we hold our distribution. Our second location is in Oceanside, and we partnered with Melba Bishop Community Recreation Center. Again, very generous of them to let us use their site for distribution. And we operate the second and fourth Tuesday of every month from 11 to 12. So in total, we hold 4 food distributions every single month with the hope of helping families with food insecurity. So this is some of our requirements. We don't ask for too much information. We just want first name, last name, and household size. We just want to know who we're serving and how many people we're serving so that we can predict how much food we would need. And right now we're currently doing it drive-through style due to COVID. So you don't even have to get out of your cars. We bag the food for you and we pack it in your car and your trunk. Limit that contact and in and out. So very, very easy. You don't need an ID. And yeah, those are our resources. So that concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for having us. Thank you guys for attending. If you're interested in booking an appointment, the phone number is up there. It's that first number. And then if you're interested in our food programs or any other community programs that you hear about from TrueCare, you can contact us in the outreach line. So that would be that bottom number, and we'll be able to answer your questions concerning those outreach programs. So now I'll pass it back to Dominic.
All right. Thank you so much, Alejandra and Moises. We really appreciate all those great resources you shared. And it actually reminded me that I should probably also mention that UPAC has food distributions on Fridays down south. I think the zip code is 92105. I want to screen share too. It looks so cool you were doing it. So one moment while I pull up the UPAC website. It's a weekly distribution, also that's drive-through. Here we go. Are you able to see my screen share?
Not yet.
Oh, okay, sorry. Here we go. How about now?
Yes.
Great. So this is upacsd.com, and it's the COVID-19 response page. There's a UPAC program called Neighborhood Enterprise Center, and actually a whole cafe too that's open called the Neighborhood Cafe. And you can sign up for a weekly care box for your household by calling 619-500-1128. Again, that's 619-500-1128. And there's usually extras too. So you can come by anytime on Friday between 1 and 3. And the address is on University Avenue. Here it is, 5348 University Avenue, San Diego, California, 92105. Additionally, if you'd like to connect after this with our UPAC program, Community Health Worker Communication and Outreach Services, that's Tracy and me, and another community health worker, Jeanette. Hopefully we'll get another one soon. But you can email me at delosreyes@upacsd.com, or call or text 619-772-3598. We can help people sign up for vaccinations for COVID. If you're in the eligible category, we can also help you find out whether you're in the eligible category. I also wanted to share that we have a limited number of free blood pressure monitors that are distributed by the Love Your Heart campaign. And the program that we have at UPAC is funded by Live Well San Diego. They have a vision for safe, healthy, and thriving communities. And so that's also within the same spirit, the county wanting to get as many people as possible to be able to do their blood pressure checks regularly at home. Because we know that having a healthy heart is important for fighting COVID, for all of those underlying conditions that can make symptoms of COVID more complicated, right? So, and it's also American Heart Month. Okay, I also wanted to do our raffle wheel. It is, I'm going to pause the share. And also, if there are any questions, I didn't see any so far in the comments on Facebook or in the chat, but feel free to, ask Alejandra, Moises, Tuan, or any of us here, any questions about COVID or the resources mentioned while I pull up our wheel. Oh, and presenters, while I'm pulling this up, you can also share anything else if you like. Okay, so I've added the Zoom attendees as well as our guest presenters today into a drawing for a UV light sanitizing box to be mailed to you with no contact pickup. So let's spin this wheel to see who wins. It's Adriana. Yay! Congratulations. Thank you. So I will connect with you afterwards so we can figure out where you'd like your UV box sent. And once again, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Feel free to connect with us afterwards. And thank you again to the presenters, to the accessibility team, and have a wonderful night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
See you next
Bye.
time.